I'm not going to lie, I was thinking yesterday, what are we going to do in the show today? And it was like, well, maybe we should just boycott the FA Cup, because really it's a steaming pile of nonsense. It matters not a jot to anybody anymore. It's like they've completely debased that tournament from the glory days. It's a bit like the Railway Cup. It'd be like us doing live commentary on a Railway Cup match if it was ever brought back again.
Well, the Railway Cup has a level of intrigue because you're creating super teams. The FA Cup,
it doesn't.
The super teams become less super.
It doesn't. It doesn't have any intrigue. It's the exact level of. It used to be this important thing that loads of people really believed in and went to, and now no one cares about. And then all of a sudden, Pádraig Amond scores and is on the back and front of every newspaper in Ireland and England. So just hold up your quickly there.
Yeah, plenty of puns as well on the name Amond, which is great.
Yeah, we'll get to the puns in detail in a minute. But there you go. So. The only ones who don't have them are the Irish Times, who have a rugby picture from Saturday on. So we're going to bring you through the papers, the football stories with Daniel Harris. We'll talk about Claude Puel, who didn't play his best team, obviously, for Leicester, as Pádraig Amond struck late to give them a 2-1 win. Andy Dunn's going to join us to talk about the weekend rugby. Big win for Munster, a very controlled performance, a very creative performance, and showing you a little bit about the versatility that Joey Carbery has by him finishing the game at 15 and being absolutely brilliant there as well. NFL wildcard weekend was pretty wild. The first game was a bit of a damn squib, but after that, everything else got pretty close and very interesting and entertaining. So it leaves us in a pretty good spot ahead of next week as well. We'll talk about that with Mike Carlson around about 9:05. And then Pádraig Amond, the hero of the day, is going to join us a little bit later on as well, if he wakes up. Carlow rising, Amond turns giant killer as Newport dump Leicester out of FA Cup. Pádraig Amond's career is pretty amazing. He's 30 and he's a professional footballer. He's been a professional footballer for the best part of a decade. Started out at Shamrock Rovers, ends up at Sligo Rovers, played for Kildare County, who don't even exist anymore at one point, and then plays in Portugal and flits about the lower leagues. But he's a professional footballer. That's what he does. It's like if you were asking Pádraig Amond when he was 10, do you want to be a professional footballer? Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, and the idea that the cup doesn't matter a jot, as you say, kind of is turned on its head immediately when you see a moment like this. A team stuck in the middle of League Two managing to pull out a massive result like this. I did see their manager speaking in the aftermath saying, well, why couldn't you do it against whoever it was, maybe Tranmere last week or against Shrewsbury last week? And you can do it against Leicester, all right, it seems. But
and Spurs last year in the Cup?
Spurs last year in the Cup. That was rather heartbreaking. They were in a very similar situation, and I think it was Harry Kane equalised to send it to a replay. I think Amond had actually scored, and then Spurs win the replay 2-0. So Newport County are kind of geniuses at this sort of thing. They know exactly how to negotiate a third-round tie and potentially a fourth-round tie. He was saying on Saturday that bring on United, basically, should they win the game, and they did win the game.
At Old Trafford, that's what you want. You want to be able to go away to one of those big games. Maybe you want them at home, do you? I guess you do, don't you?
I really like the idea of Manchester United going to lower division grounds. I think that kind of just looks better on television. I think if you want to use the crappy phrase magic of the cup, that is what the magic of the cup is. That's the only thing we can cling to nowadays. And of course, you're going to get more money if you get to go to Old Trafford, which is great and all. But I think they'd love to take Manchester United to Rodney Parade.
Yeah. Amond flies high on magic of the cup. That's him jumping, having scored the penalty for the 2-1 win. And yeah, that's the lead on the back of the Irish Independent this morning. The lead picture is from the Connacht Munster game on Saturday night. Munster well primed for Crunch European Showdown. This is essentially a preview of the weekend's rugby action. Club keen for Keita to regain confidence. So you were saying that you're not having any of Jurgen Klopp's puffery around Naby Keita. Oh, he's amazing. He's going to be a brilliant option for us. You're like, nah, this is crap.
I'm not sure. You're very much misrepresenting my opinion on Naby Keita. I'm a big Naby Keita fan.
But you just think that at some point he's a bust?
It's certainly, when you listen to a lot of people who are in the know about Liverpool at the moment, right now you'd have to say that the Naby Keita situation hasn't worked out too well.
Guys on Twitter with ITK in their handles.
Yeah, exactly. They're the big insiders, right?
Yeah.
Indy Kayla News says Naby Keita has been a bust for Liverpool, so I'm going to go ahead and agree with Mr. Indy Kayla. But at the moment, you would say that he's going to struggle to get into the team, and I would say that is more to do with the form in front of him. Like we spoke about Wijnaldum here last week, and the idea that Fabinho and Keita were brought in and it was going to eventually just nudge the likes of Jordan Henderson and Gigi Wijnaldum out of that Liverpool starting 11, and that hasn't happened, obviously. Now Fabinho Firmino could play at centre half tonight, actually. There's been some talk about that.
Oh, yeah?
And he's come in and he's certainly negotiated his way into the Liverpool starting 11 on more occasions over the last couple of months than Naby Keita has, despite the fact that at the very start of the season, it looked like it was going to be the other way around. Like, Keita played pretty well against Spurs early on in the year, and it looked like he was going to become a fixture in his team. I'm a massive Keita fan, and I'm saying giving him time. I would say give him time, and Klopp is saying that as well. It could just be a next season thing before we see peak Naby Keita.
All right. The front of the Racing Post is a picture of Battle Over Diane, who won the Lawlers in Naas on Sunday and has been slashed from 16-1 to 6-1 for the Ballymore Novices Hurdle at Cheltenham after the success in the Grade 1 Lawlers of Naas Novice Hurdle on Sunday. 2-1 was the price that Battle Over Diane went off at on Sunday, and in retrospect, well, that might have been printing money if you could have bought that. On the back of the Racing Post is Reds vulnerable to hungry wolves. So, are they? I don't know what's going to happen in this game.
Of course they are. It's, as you've said correctly...
How hungry are Wolves?
I would say they're very, very hungry. Could this not cap off a remarkable season? Like, they're safe.
Yeah, but what do you do if you're like... I suspect you're not putting out your strongest team if you're Wolves.
Why not?
Because that's the way football has gone, Owen. They don't give a... For the magic of the cup, you can probably make more money by finishing two spots
Not everything's
higher.
about money.
Well, it is.
Some things are about poetry and some things are about romance.
Yeah, I mean, they are.
Espirito Santo.
Poetry and romance are about poetry and romance. Football is a business, Owen. It's a business.
Well,
especially for a club like Wolves, who have been bought with the express intention of making loads of money.
Well, not really though.
Yes, that's all the point of Wolves is money.
It's also with the express intention of having success, and maybe that is to make some money.
Yeah.
And going deep in the FA Cup. I mean, like 2 years ago, Tiny Tempa opened for the FA Cup final. Alan Pardew was dancing on the sideline. That was, like, let's not forget that this decade has been pretty good to the FA
Crystal
Cup.
Palace.
It was Crystal Palace, losing to Louis van Gaal's Manchester United.
Yeah, it's been, and that was a stunning representation.
That is the level that Wolves can get to.
How important that How are Louis van Gaal and Alan Pardew doing at their respective clubs at the moment?
Well, they bowed off into the sunset after reaching that sort of height.
That moment of glory, that's what we'll always have, those moments of glory. Apparently Louis van Gaal has actually found his true calling in life, which is being a pundit. Apparently he's absolutely a brilliant pundit on Dutch TV at the moment.
Not surprising.
There was a bit where he was explaining how who did Palace play recently and scored? Did Palace play well against City? They did. They beat
City, the Townsend Screamer.
So he explained, but beyond the Townsend Screamer, there was like City have an issue with like the depth of their defence and the separation that midfield has, and so good teams can actually flood that area and take advantage of it. And Van Gaal explained it apparently very, very simply and clearly. Went, this is where this goal comes from. Watching like the type of analysis that I don't know, maybe you get off Sky. I'm not sure.
Well, to be honest, if you've got an opportunity to be Manchester United manager instead of being a television pundit, you probably pick being Manchester United manager. I wouldn't say it's his true calling. I would still say he believes his true calling is to be a football manager. But I think he's got into that stage in life.
What if he's actually no good as a football manager anymore?
Like, listen, he won an FA Cup on that occasion. So this conversation's all been about Van Gaal as a positive football man.
Will we do the Irish news first before we get on to the tabloids? We will, yeah. So Down need experienced heads back, insists Talty. This is insists Tally. Sorry, yeah. And... yeah, so that's a picture. Is that a picture from Armagh? It is from the Armagh game.
It's Jamie Clark.
It is Jamie Clark.
Back home on Irish soil.
Yeah.
Ready to wreak havoc all year long.
In the glory of the, what is the one? McKenna Cup.
The Dr. McKenna Cup, no less. Give him his correct title. Back page of the Herald is Amond icing. Carlow's Pádraig hits the heights as Fox is shocked. And Maguire and Durkin call time with dubs as well, says Conor McKeown on the back of the Herald this morning. Gary Maguire and Shane Durkin both calling time on their lengthy inter-county hurling careers. The back page of the Mirror is It's Super Sunday. League 2 Newport shock Leicester and Irish match winner Amond wants United. On the back of the Irish Daily Mail then is Amond milks it. Carlow native Pádraig stuns Leicester City, I should say. And then you've also got that story about Wayne Rooney. Intoxicated Rooney arrested in the USA, says Matt Lawton. Back page of the Sun then this morning is Tough Nut to Crack. Amond kills off the Foxes. Well, you've also got Down to 14. Mayo won the GA's first inter-county penalty shootout. And no curfew. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has told Manchester United's players they have no curfew on their Dubai trip. He's underlined the feel-good factor by giving responsibility to his squad.
It was all going perfectly well until they all got arrested in Dubai.
it's there's like if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was weighing this up, he could have like taken a leaf out of Dwight Schrute's book from The Office, where he says, whenever I'm unsure about whether or not I should do something, I think to myself, would an idiot do that thing? And if an idiot would do that thing, I do not do that thing. And perhaps Ole Gunnar Solskjaer should have thought to himself, would an idiot let his players have no curfew on a warm weather training camp? And I think they probably would. Back page of the Irish Daily Star is History Taker and History Maker. That's breaking new ground. Mail's Jason Doherty having a spot kick yesterday in the FBD League. Pretty happy James Horn, or pretty emotional James Horn there. I'm not sure, is he angry or is he really excited by what's happening there? Rom to improve, says Jeremy Cross. Romelu Lukaku has taken a swipe at Jose by claiming the new boss is a much better one. And of course, History Maker, as I say there. Amond, the FA Cup hero once again.
Yeah. So that's us through the papers.
That is all the back pages this morning. Pretty much Pádraig Amond dominating proceedings on all of them, and on the UK back pages as well, I understand, this morning.
Yeah, okay, so let's talk about some of the stories that are inside them. Talk a little bit about the rugby, obviously. The performance of Joey Carbery is getting a lot of praise at the weekend. Carbery started the game at out half, pulled the strings, and then moved to full-back for the last 20 minutes. Pádraig Blendall came off the bench for Munster and scored a beautiful try. But before the try, it kind of... So this decides the game effectively, largely, and there's a few chronic errors from Connacht in the build-up to it. They penalise, they lose their own put-in at the line-out. Peter O'Mahony steals it, then they tackle O'Mahony in the air and give away a penalty. But from the resulting penalty, the ball goes across the pitch, and Joey Carbery puts in this beautiful kick off his left foot that goes the length of the pitch, parallel to the sideline, to the point where Connacht player has to come over and then gets bundled into touch for like a 5-metre line out. And it looks like it's just going to be one of those line outs that Munster roll them all over the line and go, yeah, thanks very much, we're Munster. But they don't. Instead, they sling it wide to Carbery, who breaks the ankle of his opponent and goes through and largely untouched, totally untouched actually, and wins the game. You're like, ooh, maybe Leinster were right. Maybe his future is a fullback.
Maybe they are right, and
maybe he's going to end up going to Munster, playing so well at full-back. Pádraig Blendall comes in, plays out half, and he plays his way out of the World Cup squad anyway, out of the World Cup team anyway.
Joey Carbery does.
Out of the World Cup team, yeah.
Well, that's... What if he's amazing at full-back?
Well, then Ireland have a decision to make.
Like, is it then... What is the dilemma then? So say if... Like, I know that we're getting into the realms of...
How good does he have to be, right?
Well, so is it Carbery versus Rob Kearney then, or is it Kearney versus Jordan Larmour? As in, is he fighting to become Ireland's backup fullback, or is he fighting to become Ireland's starting fullback if he starts playing there right now?
The starter.
Yeah.
Except that every time he's been fit, forever, Joe Schmidt has always picked Rob Kearney.
And as he should continue to do. There's been no sign that that's going to taper off anytime soon. But like that idea of Carbery kind of unlocking the Munster backline, I think they kind of needed that over the past couple of weeks. Like Andy Dunn was in here last Monday saying there's an identity crisis in how Munster play. And I think that's kind of largely to do with the selection of the backs. Like, what is Van Graan's best team from 11 to 15?
Yeah.
From 10 to 15 actually at this point.
Fitness, I think. I think...
Well, fitness is the thing, but if everybody's fit, I still think is there a real clear sort of 10 to 15 at this point, particularly after what happened on Saturday night, now that Blendall is now an option? I
would say there is, right? And I would say that Blendall won't be an option yet because he needs to come and start and actually put proper pressure on. So like this is conjecture on the basis that Blendall continues to improve and get to match fitness to the point where he's playing as well as he ever did, and then actually a little bit better than he did before. So let's assume Carbery's 10. Chris Farrell's back, so Chris Farrell will start. Chris Farrell will start, and there is talk that Chris Farrell will start for Ireland when he's fully fit and when everybody's fully fit, which would be, him ahead of Ringrose and Bundy and Robbie Henshaw, or at least of two of them.
It would be Henshaw and Farrell
to start.
Yeah,
would it?
Well, I think Henshaw is immovable.
Is he?
I think so. Like I'm not sure what you're hearing, but
don't know.
I can't imagine that. But everybody fully fit, Joe Schmidt would even be considering taking Robbie Henshaw out of the team. Now, I think Gary Ringrose is having the season of his life at the moment. I think Bundy Aki, every time he puts on the Ireland shirt, has been outstanding as well. So I think it's a very, very hard call to put Chris Farrell above any of those three at the moment. Now, the thing is, we've got a long few weeks, big matches coming up. The thing is, Farrell's, after picking up a knock apparently at the weekend, so did his centre partner Dan Goggin, so did John Ryan, and you presume there's a few more bumps and bruises as well. The thing is, like, I want to have the conversation about Munster being back and Munster reaching those heights after the next couple of European games are done, because it is a 6-day turnaround. They do play against Gloucester on Friday night. It's a huge week for them.
What do you think about? Do you think about then putting for those games Blendell in at 10, Carbery in at fullback, Conway on the wing, Earls on the wing?
Potentially, but Mike Haley was pretty good against Leinster, wasn't he? Like, I think it's pretty harsh. So, like, I know you're doing it to get the best and to make sure that you have Blendell and Carbery on the pitch. If that is your aim, that's probably what you do. And obviously you're shunting Conway out to the wing. Like, I think it's pretty harsh on either Conway or Haley to dump them out of the starting 15 at this point.
Yeah, I think Conway's got to start. But that's an interesting selection dilemma that the lads have in Munster. What a weekend in the NFL, says Sean J. Troy. Can't wait to hear Mike's thoughts on whether or not Flacco should have been given a go at the end of the third quarter. Hashtag my Broncos are shit. Hashtag OTB AM. Thanks for that, Sean. You can leave your comments for Mike Carlson anywhere on any of the streams, on YouTube or on Facebook, or indeed on Periscope on Twitter, and we'll put them to Mike Carlson a little bit later on. If you were up late, or if you weren't up late, the Philadelphia Eagles beat the Chicago Bears in Soldier Field. Cody Parkey had a kick to win it for the Chicago Bears at the end. He took the kick, kicked it through, but Doug Peterson had used his last time out, and so they've got to do it all again. It's called icing the kicker. It hasn't worked in American football since 2004 in a playoff game.
But it has worked in the regular season quite a bit recently.
Has it?
Yeah.
Cody Parkey is flaky. The Bears used to have a kicker called Robbie Gould, but they wouldn't pay him. He kicked 32 out of 33 for the 49ers this year. Like, unbelievably good. Definitely would have made that kick.
Well, that kicker would have had a better chance of making the 1-point conversion, whatever it was, 6-7 minutes earlier. And instead they go for a 2-point conversion, presumably because they don't trust him. Now the thing is, that would have sent the game to overtime had he actually nailed that 1-point conversion. And we may not be talking about a Bears defeat this morning. I just don't understand that call whatsoever. I'm sure Mike Carlson will be able to explain it a little bit later on. And maybe that kicker is just terrible.
So what happened to the kick?
The kick hit the post and hit the upright as well. It's very rare to see a double ricochet.
And hit the crossbar.
Yeah. It's very unusual to see a double ricochet.
And didn't bounce over.
Did not bounce over, bounced right back. And that was that. It was done and dusted. I will say that Mike Carlson called the Chicago Bears last week, and there was only one dissenting voice in the studio here, Ger, saying that the Philadelphia Eagles were going to do him.
Who was that?
That was me.
Yeah.
So based on a hunch. Well, to be fair, it wasn't based on a hunch. It was based on the fact that Nick Foles is a better quarterback than Mitchell Trubisky, and everybody says that defenses win championships, and they do largely. But did we discount the power of the Philadelphia Eagles defense a little bit too lightly? I think we did, and I think we also forget that Nick Foles is he the best backup quarterback that's ever played in the NFL? I think he's in that territory right now. Now, he wasn't amazing last night.
Steve Young backed up Joe Montana for a couple of years and he went to the Hall of Fame. So, close.
How many Super Bowls did he win?
2.
So what is Nick Foles got to guide Philly to a Super Bowl win again this year to be in that conversation?
Maybe he's only started 1. But he would have 3 rings, I think.
The thing is, if they lose last night, Foles is gone. Does this now sort of change their view on whether or not they're going to keep him? They're going to have to pay him like $20 million for him to sit on the bench.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing if they win. Like, if they win next week against the Saints, that would be ridiculous. So.
Yeah, they're not though.
There's a chance. There is a chance.
That's my prediction for this week. I'm the one dissenting voice this week against the Philadelphia Eagles, saying that the Saints are going to beat them. It was an amazing weekend. I got on the Texans bandwagon very early in the weekend, and then I realised that was not the bandwagon to be on. And then I got on the Ravens bandwagon yesterday evening.
Oh, so you're the cold, clammy kiss of death.
Well, maybe, but when I got on the bandwagon, the kind of comeback started, and I see that texts are saying that Joe Flacco should have come on, or asking should Joe Flacco should have come on, but I don't think that would have been the right course of action.
What day of the week are we going to pick your bandwagon for next week? This week?
Tomorrow? We do it tomorrow?
We'll pick a bandwagon Tuesday coming your way tomorrow.